Act of Valor isn't your regular action movie. It stars real-life Navy SEALs, members of America's most elite Special Operations Force, as they recreate 5 actual missions and tie them together with a fictional story about terrorists trying to smuggle suicide bombers with undetectable explosive vests into the US. This is an unprecedented collaboration, which raises all sorts of sticky issues about Hollywood's often cozy relationship with the military and studios' willingness to be used as tools for recruitment, public relations, and pro-war propaganda in exchange for the use of military resources. But another issue is whether this can still make for a good movie. One of the main reasons the attention-shy SEALs agreed to play such an integral role in Act of Valor is so they could provide a more accurate depiction of who the SEALs are and how they work. Because their missions are so sensitive, dangerous, and high stakes, like the killing of Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, SEALs are probably the most highly trained, highly disciplined soldiers in the military. The secrecy surrounding the SEALs is reflected in their members, who are known for quiet professionalism, humility, and avoiding the spotlight. They relax and joke when off duty, but they're able to compartmentalize any issues at home and put their personalities aside when they're on a mission. It's important to show people, especially impressionable kids, that the SEALs aren't the bloodthirsty, unstable, death-wish-having, rebellious hotshots you often see in movies. The problem is that it makes the SEALs in Act of Valor kind of boring, which is not helped by the fact that the SEALs are, predictably, not terribly good actors. Most of the SEALs only get 2 sentences of backstory, and all you really know about their 2 leaders is that one has a family and serfs, and the other has a pregnant wife who wants him home safe. Audiences are drawn to emotion, conflict, idiosyncratic personalities, and characters and circumstances we can relate to. But you don't get much of that in Act of Valor. In fact, the most interesting characters are the 2 villains, an Islamic Chechen terrorist and a Jewish smuggler, who are both played by actors. The action scenes in Act of Valor were designed by the SEALs and employ up-to-date tactics, technology, and weaponry. It's pretty amazing seeing how the world's most elite soldiers work, including their meticulous planning, the jargon they use, how they avoid detection, and how they improvise when plans go south. The SEALs have an attitude and way of moving that would be nearly impossible for actors to replicate, and some of the scenes even used live ammunition. But there's a problem with this too, since the SEALs are supported and often saved by the largest military in the world. In most movies, you root for the scrappy underdog to defy the odds and defeat their bigger, richer, more powerful opponent. Well, I'm not saying that we should be rooting for the bad guys in Act of Valor. The SEALs are on the side of that bigger, richer, dominating power. And while the SEALs are definitely risking their lives, and it can be fun watching your team kicking ass and taking names, the guys they're fighting don't have a chance against such overwhelming firepower and logistical support. It's a little like watching someone gamble and rooting for the house to win. But it was hard shaking the feeling that I was watching exactly what the military wanted me to see. When there were POV shots, I wondered if this was a creative choice or a way to replicate the look of military-based first-person shooters like Call of Duty or the Pentagon-created America's Army, since the military knows full well that games like these increase recruitment and get kids thinking positively about the military, and not the justness of the foreign policy it's serving. Are there political motivations behind highlighting tunnels under the Mexican border? Or having one of the villains be a Jew with a big nose who's so greedy that he sells out to radical Islam? Does Act of Valor reinforce the dangerous trend of blind soldier worship we have in the US? Where we're supposed to, quote, support the troops no matter what, which usually becomes support the war and don't reduce their budget no matter what. Despite the well-executed action, Act of Valor has fundamental problems as a film, and since I felt like I was, in many ways, watching a recruitment video, I was suspicious that every frame of Act of Valor was meant to convince kids to join the military, which is an unsettling thought. That might be an unfair assessment, but it's how I felt, which is why I give Act of Valor a What the Flick rating of 4.8 out of 10. I'm Jonathan Kim for What the Flick.